we did this on Sunday. I'm just going to run the beginning and get to where we are now. So it's talking about the tzitz. The tzitz have to hold. Make the tzitz. Kohen puts the forehead, he puts a tzitz, and he writes on the tzitz, it says Kodesh Lashem. Omer Azal, Kodesh Lamed, page Pegim. Lemato V'Avaya Lemaila. So it says Kodesh La on one line at the bottom, and then Hashem on top. We'll have to understand this. Gam loving Mashkos Aboyal Meitzich Iron, and also iron is Avin. But the deeper reason why it's called tzitz is because matzit is to peak. So what Hashem does is he peaks. He peaks from above. So the pshat is that there's a love that Hashem gives to the Jewish people, and that love peaks in from above. So Aaron HaKohen's job is to give a Jew a peek into the love that Hashem has for him. Now, so he explains like this. We're on page Gimel, the line begins Ratzim. Line 5 of the Maimer. To understand this. Tzitz means a little ray of light. What is he? Aaron is Mishiva Royim. So Aaron bring the tzitz. Why? Because he wants to give you a peek at Hashem. Aaron is one of the 7 shepherds. And what's his job? He's Mefinus, the Knesset Yisrael. He gives you a hamshochas or ein seif baruch hu. Aaron wants a Jew to experience an or ein sof, a ray of light of Hashem. Aaron hu amamshech b'chinas ava rabba. I'm just thinking about it, that Aaron's job was to do Shalom Bais. One of the big things that he did was Shalom Bais. And how do you do Shalom Bais? I'm having a meeting this evening with a couple that I'm having a long conversation with. And there's so much pain in the marriage. It's like married for 20 years and so much pain. And what you realize is that what a marriage needs in order to succeed is hamshochas or ein sof. That's what it needs. So I was talking to the wife last night. She tells me, he caused me this pain, that pain, all the things that he caused me. So I said to her, and she wants him to know it. I said, you want to be married or divorced? If you want to be married, then what's going to have to be is you have to bring a new light into your marriage, not look at the old situations and find them, and then it's impossible it's impossible to change. What you want to do is draw down Ava Rabba, draw down a love, draw down a whole deeper level of revelation. So Aaron's wearing a tzitz on him. What's the tzitz about? The tzitz says Hashem is going to be revealed and peek out to him. Everything's in the hands of heaven except for fear of heaven. There's two types of love. There is a love which is lemata min hadat. You meditate on Hashem and you reflect on Him, then you'll arrive at a love of Hashem. There's a love which you get. Sometimes you think about Hashem, you meditate, and then you get to Avas Hashem. Sometimes meditation won't do it for you. So it's going to come about from what method? Just something from above. It's like an experience from above. Sometimes you have just, you don't know why, and you just feel a surge of energy. That's what he's talking about. Which means, so what's the tzitz about? The tzitz is a revelation, a peaking of Hashem, which peaks at Neshamas Yisrael. Hashem is removed, and somehow you get this revelation of Hashem that peaks at you. That's what it says. Meitzitz min harakim. Meitzitz min harakim. It says, "V'hine zeh omed achal kotleinu." What a beautiful pasuk, magnificent pasuk. For those of you on Sunday, I'm just chazering this nikud over there. Hine zeh omed achal kotleinu. This is, you say it in Kiddush Labana, that there's a wall. Mishahara Beis Hamikdash, there's a wall between Hashem and us, and even though nothing can block, but your Averis can block you from Hashem. It blocks Bein Yisrael Aviyem Shebashamayim. It doesn't say Bein Aviyem Shebashamayim Yisrael. There's no blockage from Hashem to us. The blockage is from us to Hashem. And what that does is it means a Jew has the natural affinity to, the Jew's bound to his own soul. And there's a connection there. And what happens is you're not able to experience that connection in a revealed way. So when you don't experience it, what happens? Hashem is meitzit min harakim. He peeks from the crevices, which means if you break, when a person breaks the facade. The last few days in Tanya, so he's talking about breaking the facade. How do you break the facade? He says, well, if you're a very materialistic person, it's very hard to experience divine revelation. So what you want to do is break the external facade. He said that the Zohar says if a log of wood is not able to experience to light up, what do? You got to break up the log into small splinters, then you can light it up. So if you want to experience a light, a godly light revealed in your life, how do you do it? You can't do it when you're feeling like a big Baal Gaiva. You can only do it when you're not a Baal Gaiva, when you let go of the Gaiva. And that's by breaking a person apart. So how do you break yourself apart? Either life breaks you apart. Sometimes, things happen that make it very difficult for you and you feel broken. And when you do, you're not broken. You're experiencing an opportunity to reveal Hashem in your life. Or when you do it to yourself, you look at yourself and you say, you feel smug. I feel like I'm a big tzaddik. And then you look, am I a big tzaddik? I mean, you've got everything you need, spiritually, physically, you're doing well. You look at yourself and you say, but am I really an Oved Hashem? And you want to break the external to get to Yehurit Shuvah. That's what it means. Aaron was wearing the tzitz on his forehead. What's the tzitz? The tzitz is a sense of revelation, something revealed from Hashem. Okay. Now, we always, not always, but often read the parsha of Tetzaveh, which is about the tzitz, in the time of Shabbos Zachar. So this week is both Tetzaveh and Zachar. He says, you want to know what Aaron's doing? Aaron is wearing a tzitz to reveal Hashem meitzitz bin harakim. Aaron's wearing a tzitz, and who's blocking him? Why does he have to be matzitz? Who's the kotel? Who makes a wall between you and Hashem? The answer is Amalek. Amalek is the beginning of all the nations. Even nowadays, when there's no physical war against Amalek, nonetheless, what happens? Why is it so important to do Mechias Amalek, destroy Amalek? Why are we so into Amalek? Who cares? So the answer is Amalek. What is he? Amalek is the chutzpah, the yeshiv. What it does. If you rise and you soar like an eagle, where do all bad midas come from? Where do they come from? A sense of yeshus. When a person feels yeshus, it means you feel a sense of gaiva, a sense of self. I mean, that leads to all the bad midas. Today's Tanya is spectacular. Today's Tanya, if you haven't learned Tanya, you're going to learn today's Tanya.
This feels.
No, you don't? Yeah. Okay, today's Tanya is Perek Lamed Beis. Yes, there's one thing I posted last night on it.
Watched this morning, give him grading for it.
Today's Tanya is Perek Lamed Beis. So Perek Lamed Beis, when you want to start learning Tanya with someone, one of the chapters you'll learn is 32. Why? It teaches you how to have Ahavas Yisrael. And what's the key of Ahavas Yisrael? Key is, Hillel Azakin said, the key is, if you're focused on materialism and physicality, you can't have Ahavas Yisrael. How can I love a fellow Jew if I'm a materialistic being? Right? In order for me to love a fellow Jew, what do I need to do? I need to break my materialism and get into spirituality. So if I'm focused on my own spirituality, then I look at you, what do I see by you? If I look at you, I say, wow, you have a nicer car than me. You have a better life. You have better situation, money, parnasa, whatever. So you're better than me. So I look at you and I think to myself, wow, it's not fair. Right? But if I'm focused on spirituality, what do I see by you? See a holy Jew. And if I see Helikite come in, then I like, wow, so you've got to look at your Nefesh Elikis. So the more I'm focused on my Nefesh Elikis, the more I can focus on your Nefesh Elikis and see the Ma'alim in you. Stays. That's what Aaron's doing. And Amalek says, let's focus on Gaiva, on Yeshus. That's Haman. ממנה באות מידות רעות וביתה מחוץ. מבית את פנימיוס הנפש גס צלב ונצחונס. וכייצא בזה. מבחוץ, חיצייניס, הנהוגס הגוף, פועל ממש רדיף, אז הכובד מלבוש בכובד בתפארת. So two parts to it. There's בפנימיוס הנפש and בחיצייניוס הנפש. בפנימיוס הנפש is that I'm in myself, I'm focused on גסות הלב. מה זה גסות הלב? It's a coarseness. I'm focused on my own needs, myself. בפנימיוס הלב, what is it? It's when I'm focused on, right, there's subtle midas. You can have a person who's a holy guy, and yet he's filled with animosity, jealousy, anger, like bad midas. And you can have a guy who's just totally filled with godly midas. Everything's holy, right? Depends who you are, and depends what you're focused on. And physically, it's a person who's running off that he wants the better car. He doesn't mention a car, he mentions clothing, but covered with tiferes, he wants all that. So what does Aaron HaKohen do? El Kavanah Zu, first line from the bottom. So what a beautiful insight. Nasu bigdei keuna lechavod u'letiferet la'aron banav. So he made the kahuna clothing for the glory and splendor of Aaron HaKohen. Amalek, what does he say? He said, let's intensify the sense of Gaiva. Right? What does Hashem say? Tavim? No? What does Amalek say? Amalek says, intensify the chutzpah, the yeshus, the Gaiva. Yeah? What does Hashem say? What does Aaron say? Aaron says, let's go wear these beautiful clothing. Let's go wear them and let's go wear beautiful clothing and let's wear the chavod of the tiferes. What does it? Hello. Let's wear clothing chavod of the tiferes. You know, the Rabbi Maharash, he had a minhag when he used to he used to wear all the time golden clothing. Old clothing, gold, like gold, whatever. The point is, he used to wear very, very expensive clothing, and he would only ride in an expensive carriage. Everything you do was done with the highest level of expense, right? It was all done with grandeur. Oh, makara, baby. It was all done on the highest level of grandeur, with pomp and ceremony, everything that he did, right? And why did he do that? So they asked him why. He said. Someone said, the Rujin did the same thing, by the way. The Rujin was put in prison because they said he wants to be like the Tsar. So he said the lot, and he says, Fatah. So Lidbemen then is gold bashaf and Gemara. He says, you fool. Who do you think gold was created for? In other words, when Hashem created gold, the purpose of creating gold was to have a base and a and to be able to use it for holy purposes. So Aaron HaKohen, what was he doing? He was wearing these beautiful clothing, and one of them is the tzitz. So the idea is like this. There's a sense of yeshus and gaiva that's blocking you, right? It's not shat that a person should not be about gaiva, therefore should not be into money. It should not be into having all the things that he needs. Shat is that you should be into it. You should be into it for holy purposes. The word is to be into it for b'shvil kedusha. And if you're into it for kedusha, then it works. See the difference?
You're saying you're not a regular person, but saying to use
what?
Saying a regular person that's into saying someone wearing, even a rabbi wearing gold clothing. How's that?
I'm saying that there's something to be said about when you do things in a pomp and ceremonious way for kedusha. But you valid over the kitchen. Means when anything is holy, anything is done in a holy way is done with hashivus, right? So if you're making a celebration for Hashem, make it with all the power you have, right? Not to say, let's make it never. Don't make it never. So Aaron HaKohen was doing that by having these beautiful clothing. וכך הייתה מידתו של עמלק בזמן משה. So what's the מידה בעמלק? שהרי ישראל לא באו להילחם איתו ולא שמו את ליבם אליו, רק הוא בעצמו מאליו בא לעורר מלחמת חינם מפני גדולתן של ישראל. What does עמלק do? Amalek doesn't care. He said, Jews are successful, I'm going to fight them. That's what Amalek says. He says, I don't care. He had no reason to pick, no bone to pick with us. When it came to any other nation, what are they upset about? What's another nation upset about? Right? I love grandchildren. So I give them back to make me answer. So when it comes to Mitzrayim, I read up. We were in their way, right? Let's say when the Mitzrayim started with us, what did they want? They said, maybe they'll become great, and when they'll become great, they'll fight with us, and they'll kick us out. So they made sense why they're fighting with us. Doesn't make sense, but it makes sense. What's Amalek fighting us for? We were nowhere near him. There was a nation in the middle of Purposeful came to see us because we were first. Said, let's get them. No reason. Page Gimel, second column. The reason is Amalek can't handle that there's someone great without him. You ever had an Amalek feeling? Amalek feeling is you don't know why, but you simply can't handle that somebody else has something and you don't, it doesn't make a difference to you, but you can't handle that he has more than you.
Jealousy.
It's not just jealousy, it's jealousy and it's when you become envious and you become a bad person. You just have these bad midas inside you, right? You don't know why, but the other person bothers you. Just the mitzias of the other person bothers you. Today's Tanya, Perek Lamed Beis, is the exact opposite of this, right? It's like the foundation of Torah. What is it? To get to love a fellow Jew. What's the opposite to fight? Get rid of Amalek inside you. He says, look, line 2 of page Gimel, column 2. You can't handle someone who's greater than you in the eyes of God and man. At the very least, I don't mind as long as I'm not small. Right? What do? How many people we struggle with this? You make yourself, you buy a car that you can't afford. You make a wedding. I had a couple who told me essentially they got divorced basically based on what? For what reason? I mean, we say the divorce, but they were getting it divorced. For what reason? The foundation that started it was that they made a wedding for $250,000 and they couldn't afford it. And then it became a point of contention between them, etc. So they had this beautiful night where all their friends thought they were great. Oh, all their friends thought they were great and amazing. And what ended up happening? It was amazing. Amazing wedding. But then what? There was nothing there. So when you want to be miyapi yourself, you want to beautify yourself, all the wonderful things of life, but in the process, yeah, that's Amalek. Amalek is destructive. On page Gimel, column 2, line 4. So it says like this. Amalek is case. Okay. Because the pasuk says, we read it on Purim. Yad al keska milchama Hashem Amalek midor dor. Kes, מה זה כס? chair. אבל למה נקרא כס? כס זה כיסוי. covers over, כס מכסה את יודקי. שאין השם שלם ואין הכיסא שלם. כיסא הוא השראת המלך שבעל הכיסא אליעזר ושכנתי בסוף. והיינו בבחינת כיסא באלף שאלופוי של אוילום שירם. So kisei, מה זה kisei, is the throne of Hashem. If you don't have the aleph, what do you have? Right, you have a kisui. V'iskasu, this cover, what is it? Hi al shem yudke, it's covering over the name yudke. Ki b'chol echad ve'echad yesh shem yudke. Every single Jew.
Why is Amalek compared to what saying? Keska, wow.
Hashem is yoshev al kiseh. He says a kes with an aleph, right? And he covers over himself, but you see, when you have the aleph removed, You have a case, you just have a cover. Right? That's real. Moshe Kosev, it says, Oziv v'zimrat yudke v'yidei lishua.
Okay.
Changed? Amen. So what does it mean? Hey, we spashtus arech v'reicha. So let me just explain it. He's going to explain what Yud K Vav K is. Every Jew has a Yud K Vav K. When Hashem is revealed, that's Yud K Vav K. Amalek stops you coming to Vav K. Kodesh. Amalek, his job is to not allow the Yud K to penetrate the Vav K. That's why it says Yad al Kes Yud K Milchama Hashem ba'Amalek midodo. Yud K Vav K. Amalek says Yud K stays above, does not come down to Vav K. Right? So he's explaining like this. Hashem sits in a kisei. But over here, you take the aleph away, so it's a case. Only a case. What's a case? Chof samach, only. Amen. Hine, hey, we spashed with Eirech Bereicha. Page Gimel, column 2, 10 lines in. The we spashed to some shochas are in Sefer Chuli, Yisrael, Gal, and Malak Olam. Explain this. When Hashem comes down to the world, he comes down in four levels. Yud, K, Vav, K. Yud is, essentially, Yud is, he limits himself, conceals himself, then expands, then reveals, then expands. That's the process of Hashem coming down. So, what?
First Yud?
The first Yud is the Tzimtzum, concealment, right? Now, the Yud K, Vav K represent the 10 spheres. Yud is Chochmah, He is Bina, Vav is the Midas, and He is the Malchus. Amalek says, Amen, I'm good if you have intellectual ideas. I'm not good if you carry your intellectual ideas into you feel and connected and actually do something about it. Ideas are great, don't do anything about it. So what happens is, Amalek blocks the Yud K from coming down to the Vav K. That's why it says, Yad al Kes Yud K, Milchama Hashem Amalek Midodo. Ein Hashem Sholem, the name of Hashem is not complete until Amalek gets destroyed. Amen. Amalek is Yedea Es Riboinoi. He knows his creator. Umitkaven limrod hu.
Who's Amalek nowadays?
Amalek nowadays is in your soul. Amalek is a piece of you. Amalek is, you see it in yourself all the time. He's the core of the animal soul, which is just animalistic. There's no reason for it. And he just seeks to just, I want to do this for my own self. So I should gain. The whole point is for myself. That's Amalek. You know, it sounds to me, it's a piece of you that's just all the time. Like, you know, by the way, I think it was Adam. There was Yiddishistim, back in the day.
Huh?
The Yiddishistim. There was a culture. I mean, the Bundistin had that. They had in communist Russia had these guys who spoke Yiddish, and the guys spoke Yiddish, and they were a Yiddish culture. So they were anti-Jewish. They came to America. They made Yiddish papers. They were the whole culture of Yiddish. So I think it was a Chadam, Chaim Nachman Bialik, Shaul Chernichovsky, and Chadam and Shalom Aleichem, and all the famous. They became the folklore of Israel. They were all kofrim in every way. So Chadam, I think it was once he met the Rebbe Rashab, and he was a Yid who understood Torah, right? He rebelled against it, but he understood it. So he said, the lashon he said about him was to this effect. He played on Amalek. It says, "Yodea et ribono umitkaven limrod bo." He knows his maker, and he seeks to rebel against him. He says, "Yodea et haolam umitkaven limrod bo." He understands everything, and he's lechat rising above it. I mean, anyway, but what's Amalek? Amalek is, you know Hashem and you refuse to allow it to penetrate. So every Jew, when you meditate on Hashem, and then it doesn't affect you. You learn Torah, you know it's there, and what? And it doesn't affect it and come down. So that's the pshat that Yud K doesn't come down to Vav K. We can go to the end of this, is where the whole thing comes down. The last 4 lines of the paragraph. אבל עמלק הוא כס י' K. שהוא המכסה על י' K שלא יתגלה בבחינת ו' K. You see how Yud K and Vav K is the same thing. It's just Vav is an extended letter of the Yud, right? So Yud K is the intellect. Vav K is when it comes down, when it's emotions. You see how, what does down mean? You know, if can you go down, if you arrive at the scene of an accident, you see blood and whatever all over. So do you get moved by it, or you going to get feel or not? So imagine a doctor walks in, right? And he wants to save the day. Care about the blood and the gore and the whatever, you're not going to be able to do anything because it's affecting you, right? So the doctor walks in, he's looking at it completely removed. That's what it means, removed. And when it comes down to emotions that you're affected by. If you discover suddenly that Rahman has done his own relative, then he's going to feel terrible about it. That's when the Yud K descends into the Vav K. So here in a positive sense, you have a connection to Hashem intellectually. So what do you do about it? Are you bound to Hashem or not? Right? Does the midos get affected by the moich? Are you following, Amalek? שאף שלבבו יבין את כל זאת, לא תתפעל הנפש ולא יאיר באור האהבה מחמת שנעשה מחיצה של ברזל המפסקת ומונעת את האור. Blocking the light. So let's recalibrate. Aaron HaKohen's wearing a tzitz. What's the tzitz? The tzitz is that even when you don't feel Hashem in your life, there's peaks, metzitz. Hashem is matzit min hacharakim. And hinei zeh omed achar kotleinu. Hashem is right behind the wall. What's the wall? The wall is a blockage you put in front of Hashem. You know, yesterday on my WhatsApp, on the feed, came up a letter of the Rebbe. And then I went to look at the Rebbe. Beautiful, beautiful letter. And the kudah that he tells someone is that they put like a chizuk, like a little vort in chizuk, and they show you the source of it. So you go read the source, and it says. So the vort is that tells someone that they're struggling. They were running, the guy was a Magid in yeshiva, and he's struggling, whatever, and he has to raise money for the yeshiva. It's very difficult for him. So the Rebbe writes to him, I think he's with his wife, and he went away on a fundraising trip and whatever, and she was very down. So in the letter, it's a long letter, but in the letter, the one that he tells her is that the problems, first of all, I want you to know that you're bitter over the fact that you're running yeshiva, and that's why you have these problems. But I want you to know that Hashem wants you to have problems, you'll have problems, and you would have had them in some other area also. So you don't know what it is. Because you were doing this, right? You have problems over here. But Hashem wants you to have problems. So you would have had problems anyway, right? Number one. Number two, he says to her, I want you to know that the problems are in your head. The fact there's a problem is an interpretation of the situation. And if you interpret the situation differently, the problems go away. And I was looking at this like, what? Maybe the problem's in the head? Does it make sense? But you realize how often that's true? Very often it's just, okay, and if it's false, then what? There is no problem. You're just looking at it in a certain kind of a way. So Aaron HaKohen, let's get this thing. The tzitz is about your ability to see that, reinterpret everything going on in your life. And there's a peak of elokus coming into your life. So Aaron has a thing that says, Kodesh la Hashem. Hashem, reveal. So there's a blockage. Aaron HaKohen's job is to go to the Shalom Bayis, show people a new perspective on their lives. This couple are meeting, right? Married for 20 years. Their marriage is a disaster. I can see it because I'm not in a marriage. Right? In my own marriage is different, but in someone else's marriage, I can see it easily. Flip the conversation, a little bit of a difference, the light of Hashem penetrates. That's what it means, Kodesh la Hashem. The tzitz, meitzitz. Aval. Amalek does the opposite. What does Amalek say? The Moichin should not penetrate the midos. So Amalek refuses to allow any crevice whenever there's something that maybe there's Hashem. Nah, that's not allowed.
So he tries to eradicate. Amalek tries to eradicate the Yud K. In other words, right? That's what the Vav K he's okay with.
No. Fakir, the Yud K is okay with.
Okay, good. That makes more sense. Okay, no, I was trying to understand that. Okay, that makes more sense, right? Because why? Because once the emotions get involved, that he doesn't want. He just wants knowledge is okay. Just once the. Yeah,
you can learn as theory or whatever. That's great.
Right. That's right.
Theory is great. I don't like the feelings and the practice. I can't handle that.
Right.
So the tzitz is exactly that, right? The tzitz is and by the way, when you say the parsha of tzitzis, the Alter Rebbe uses the same thing. He explains why the tzitz is the male and tzitzit is a female. Amazet tzitzit. Tzitzit is your ability to reveal, to discover divine light. So it's le'atzitz, to be able to peek. So he says, if you can't peek at Hashem, what's going to happen? And you're struggling in life. If you see Hashem, you're no longer struggling. See that? When you matzitz at Hashem, when you matzitz, you gaze at Hashem, you see Hashem. So vayalachem the tzitzit is instead of being asher atem zonim acharayim, ma ze zonim, there he says you're promiscuous. Why are you promiscuous? Because promiscuous means, so a motivational speaker said, if you're using your phone and everyone's allowed into your phone, anyone can text you and email you and whatever. So what are you doing? You basically open yourself up to the whole world. So your feelings the whole day are going to go from everybody else's feelings. They're going to tell you what to do with your time, what to do with your feelings, everybody else on the outside, right? So he says what you want to do is take control of your own life. And you decide what to do. And you decide when to use the phone. Imagine you could do that. So the Pasuk says, stop being your eye, your heart sees, and you see from the outside world, and you want whatever is on the outside. Stop doing that. You should become a zachar. Right? How to become a male? By taking your place, and then you tell the world, not the world tell you. That's tzitzit. That's tzitzit. So tzitzit is that you can gaze at Hashem. You can see Hashem in everything. And the tzitz is the male of that, to be able to gaze at Hashem and not to be blocked by the wall that's blocking you from Hashem. You get it or not? Okay. So how do you win the battle? How do you make sure that you are aligned with the energy of Hashem? Next paragraph. Moshe says to Yeshua, Bechar lanu anashim. מה זה bechar lanu anashim? Strange thing to say. Choose men. Bechar lanu dafka. שלכבוש מלחמת עמלק צריכים אנשי משה דווקא. If you want to conquer the war against Amalek, you need Moshe men. Men of Moshe, מה זה אומר? בחינס מוישה, או כמו שקוסו, ואנחנו מו, בחינס ביטל, והסקללוס, לגמרי, ברן זה ברוך הוא. What's Moshe? Moshe is a person who has zero self. Nothing to do with him. It's all about the people, all about Am Yisrael. The whole thing. Moshe has no sense of self. So he says, that bittul and iskaladus which you have, Moshe says, make people like me. Bechar lanu anashim. Give me students. I mean, those students can fight against Amalek. Get it? What is Torah? It's called Torah Moshe. Torah Tzivanu Moshe. The whole path of Torah should be Avodah al Pi Bechinas Moshe. We say Torah Moshe. We say very clearly, Torah Tzivanu Moshe. I say this, but people always worry about when in Chabad, one of the things you get accused of is too much connection to the Rebbe. There's Hashem. Yeah? But halach and Shulchan Aruch is that when you start talking with what do you teach him to say? First thing, Torah Tzivanu Moshe. What on earth? Torah Tzivanu Hashem. Moshe? Because you need Moshe. Let's get this straight. Why? When you live a physical life, it's way too easy to get to veer off path because of Amalek. Because Amalek said, me, myself, the other guy's doing better, why should I? The sense of yeshus. And it's critical to have a Moshe in your life. What's Moshe? Bitu, let go. It's not about you. Do it the truth because it's the truth. So Torah tzivanu Moshe. If a guy says, all I want is Torah, then even Torah you don't have. צריך להיות תורת משה בבחינת ביטול ואינסי ברוך הוא לגמרי. Torah needs to be ביטול. אתה מבין מה זה ביטול? You know, what bittul? Bittul is the sense
Shalom,
of
shalom, how are you?
Boker Tov, nice to see you.
Get back to 12.
Bittul is a total, welcome back. Bittul is a total
Thank you.
sense of letting go. That's what I mean, no sense of self. So today we like, it's the opposite of therapeutic thinking. If you were traumatized, what should you do? You should talk about your trauma and sit there, what?
Work on it.
Work on the trauma and go into that space, back into it, and then whatever. That's the whole power. And it's very nice, but at the end of the day, what does that mean? If you're very traumatized, follow that path. You know, follow your heart, do what you want to do. The Torah path is very much about bittul. About bittul doesn't mean being abused. Bittul means not thinking about yourself. What do they say? Not thinking less of yourself, but thinking of yourself less. See the difference? Not thinking less of yourself, just thinking of yourself less. Because when you're focused on the matara and the goal, so you're good. The problem is if the whole time it's all about me and what I need, but that's what Amalek does. Amalek says, let's think about me, myself, and I. And that's when you get blocked. I love this translation. You want to know a translation? Add this to your list.
But even
Halal,
empty space.
nice, you're really good. See that? Halal. What does that mean? מה זה חילול שבת?
Desecrate.
We could desecrate. מה זה desecrate? Halal is a corpse. I mean, don't be halal, don't be empty. So, in other words, let's rephrase them. I mean, don't murder Shabbos. מה זה חילול Hashem? Chilul Hashem is emptying, murdering Hashem, emptying a space of Hashem. Hashem is everywhere, and you're saying, but not here. The definition of Chilul Hashem is Hashem should not be here. Why?
לא נראה לי שישראלים שיודעים את זה, you know?
מה?
חלל, אמת, right? I don't think some people know that.
You have the Hebrew word, that's what it is.
Probably don't understand it.
אבל למה זה חילול השם? Define חילול השם. Rambam says מה זה חילול השם בהלכות תורה. Rambam says חילול השם is a guy who doesn't pay, a Talmud Chacham doesn't pay on time, carries the debt, different things like that. That's Chilul Hashem. Chilul Hashem at its core is exactly that you emptied God out of the place where you are. So every Aveira does. But every time you get angry, the other feed that they also said that the Rebbe writes to someone, he says, if you're getting angry, then what's anger? Anger is if you believe V'hine Hashem nitzav alav, Hashem is in front of you and he's looking over you, and he's examining you, he wants to see how you're working. If you Hashem is in front of you, what are you getting angry for? You're getting angry because you don't believe in Hashem. You're denying Hashem. You're pushing Hashem out. That's Chilul Hashem. כמים דוחק רגלי השכינה כביכול. אלא כמים התוהו עד שנברא אלוהים התוהו משנברא אלוהים. Hashem is, this is one of the fundamentals of Chassidus. Hashem is everywhere. Hashem is before the world's created and after the world's created. And what did Hashem do? He made this zone called, brilliantly, you and your yeshus and your sense of self. And what does he say? You see this sense of me, this body, this being, and this body has taivas. He gets angry, he gets frustrated, he gets stressed out, he gets upset. He has to make a living, he has to whatever. Let go. Let it go. And still do it. And that's hard. That's the Chilul Hashem, emptying Hashem. So Moshe says, if you want to win against Amalek, there's only one way to win. Bechar lanu anashim. Right? Moshe says, you've got to have people who are my students, who are learning from me. You might not be on the same level as me, it's absolute bittul, but whatever level you could get, that's the one. Hashem was there before, there was nothing besides Hashem. We'll make that space now. If you're paying attention at this piece, it's magnificent. What he's saying is, he's telling you what your mission in life is. Hashem is everywhere. Then he created the space where you don't see Hashem. And it really, literally looks and feels like Hashem is not there. You literally believe that you are the master of your own destiny. You believe like you control everything and you're running the world. And Hashem says, let go of the external Amalek facade and allow Hashem to penetrate you. What it will look like is a person who's going to enjoy. If you do this, you'll be always basimcha. Like the Alter Rebbe says, I mean, why do you get sad? Because you're blocking your own life supply. I mean, looking at other things. And we don't know how to get out of that. The Eichel of Olam Ma'alim. What do you mean Hashem is there before and after? Yesh Olam. What's Olam? Olam ze Elem. Ella, the way to do it is Hainu al de Esek HaTorah. What Hashem does is He gave us a Torah. Mazeh Torah. Torah is this thing that comes from above. The Raisa Mechochma Nafch. That comes from Hashem's Chochma. Uchsiv Hashem bechochma yesad. So when you're learning Torah, you're becoming one with Hashem. It reminds me of the mashal of Reb Nachman Horadenka, or the student of Baal Shem Tov. Not Reb Nachman Bresler, not different Reb Nachman. So there's in the Mitzvah Rebbe brings a mashal of Reb Nachman, and the mashal is that he says there was once a bunch of people, and they got stuck in a cave. And they were stuck in a cave and they couldn't get out. I mean, there were a bunch of men and women. So there was no light in the cave, no nothing. And they managed to open up a little hole, a little channel, and as well upstairs in the real world, up there, they knew that they were down there. They would send them down food every so often. They would send them instructions. They had this once, in Chile a few years ago. It happened to the miners, if you remember. They sent them down instructions how to do it. He wrote this 200 years ago. Instructions on how to live life and whatever. It's like living in outer space, very hard. They're living over there and they get married. Men and women get married. And they have children. I mean, and those children have grandchildren. And there's someone's up there feeding them because they have they're alive. They don't know how to get them out. But they're alive in this little crevice. So he says that 3, 4 generations, 5 generations pass by. What happens? The people have no way to see light. They don't know what the sunlight looks like. They have no idea what real food is. Right? They don't know anything. So all they know is that there's this thing that comes from above, this channel, and it sends them these little things, and they go to eat them. When you eat them, you survive, right? And then they know that every so often that someone, the 100-year-old guy tells them I remember living in the light. You could see people. Over here we can't see each other. It's dark. And he describes them. They're like, what? And then one day this channel opens, and a fellow comes, just boom, and he lands in the cave. And he starts telling the people, I came from the real world. And he gathers the little grandchildren and talks about light. But people can see each other, and there's sights, and there's beautiful flowers, and a sun, and everything, and they have no idea what it's in. So the Mitzvah Rebbe says, Nachman or Danke says that this is the marshal of us in life. We are in that darkness. And then every so often Hashem sends a neshama from above, a tzaddik, like this Alter Rebbe when you're learning it now. And he starts revealing to you, there's a real world. There's a real world, and you're not aware of it. Right? What is the Torah? The Torah is when you get that. So what's the cave? Yeshus. And if you pay attention to it, it's so fascinating to see. We are immersed in a state of self. It's so real to us. We don't know, you exist for a short span of time. And you know that after you're going back to the ground and back to nothingness. You came from there, you're going there. But until the last second, the Taz says in Allah that a woman wants to put on makeup. And she wants to put on makeup. A woman needs to have makeup until the last second. Even when she's going to her funeral, her own funeral, she wants to have makeup on. Taz says in Allah. Because a person feels his own yeshus till the last second. Here's the avodah. Through when you learn Torah. If you experience Torah, look, I don't know, when you're learning Torah, if you learn Torah, and you have what he's talking about, it's not about learning the material, it's about Hashem is being expressed through this Torah. And then you look at Gemara, it happens also. Chochma is the koyach of Moshe. Torah tzivalin u'Moshe. Moshe said, I'm going to give you a Torah. Define Torah. Torah is Moshe being revealed in every single aspect of life. Bittul revealed in every aspect of life. In every little thing you're learning, it's the Ein Sof. It's an expression of Hashem. You're in a total state of bittul. If you learn Torah properly, what's Torah giving you? A look on the world. As an example, right? If you learn when the Rebbe's halacha of Shulchan Aruch, Shin Tes, halacha 329, right? So you look at that. It's how do you view the world? when going on to attack you, not to give away shtachim. If you learn it, the way not drop all the political things of what you do in the United Nations cares and what America is saying, what everyone's going to say, and the politics, whatever. Learn, he says, learn the Torah like it says the Torah, and you'll see very crystal clear what to do. And if you see crystal clear what to do, you know what's going to happen? The world will follow suit because the world's aligned for Torah. It's just that when you don't learn Torah, you're learning about my own, that doesn't mean that, it doesn't really mean this, it doesn't, that's when you lose it. So you have to learn Torah with bittul and then allow the Torah to flow through into the world. That's what it means. What is Torah? Torah is an expression of Ein Milvade. That's what Torah is. It says Ein Milvade. What does Ein Milvade mean on a Monday morning when I'm walking into my office and it's 9 o'clock, I'm walking into my office, I'm going to go do some work. What does bittul mean? Look in the Torah, learn some Torah and apply. That's what it means when it says Vasim Dvorai Beficha Dvorai Mamish. Upiris Dvorai Beficha Einu B'chinas Penimis. I put my words beficha. What does it mean? I gave you me. Hashem is revealed myself to you in two different ways. One is pnimi, and one is makif. Right? You see what makif is? Makif is an aura. So it's about us internalizing the message that there's only Hashem, and Torah is revealing that. That's how you overcome Amalek. That's why when they were fighting against Amalek, so Moshe sent some people out to go do the work, and he himself was sitting and davening and holding his hands on God. It says he was davening and learning. That's why you need two parts to a war. You can't have just soldiers fighting in the front. You have the people learning Torah in the back. Because that's how we win. Amalek says, think about yourself. It's all about me and I, and that's the key. And that's the foundation of breaking apart between people. When you break that yesh, that's what breaks the mechitza shel barzel. So that's the Rebbe Rashab said. There's two ways to get to a Jew. One is through a farbrengen, the other one is through a pogrom. You can decide which one. Both of them break apart a Jew. Pogrom definitely breaks a Jew. October 7 breaks us, gets us connected to Hashem. It's the Hashem is revealed. But you can do it in farbrengen. Like now you can farbrengen and realize it, and then you hopefully it's a better way to do it. So and now you understand the pasuk. Make it tzitz. Who should make it tzitz? Moshe. Who I will say that tzitz. Moshe. Make the Jews a path to gaze, to peek, tzitz on Hashem. Show Jews, look at their lives, show them how Hashem has appeared to you everywhere. Next page, every Jew's got these little hirurim of tshuva. Sometimes they think, you know what? I should go. Choose Anshe Moshe. So you have a choice in life. Are you going to be Anshe Moshe or not? This tzitz is made of pure gold, which is gold is gvura and kesef is ava. Steinen b'chinas ava. Okay, we'll do that part tomorrow, Mitzvah. So let's summarize as the Guda. Ve'asisa tzitz means make a path to Hashem in your life. How do you do that? Learn Torah and ask what does the Torah say to do and go apply it in real life. Instead of having your blockage in between you and Hashem all the time. And that blockage is a monik, that blockage of the Yeshus. What's happening in the Holy Land?
Always good stuff there.
Where are you learning?
ZAJ, it's called. It's a
Rav Shai Cohn's son.
Oh, nice. He has a shiva there.
Yeah. He's there now for Yarchei Kala with alumni.
You mean the Gula Yarchei or Stam?
No, Stam. He's owning a ZA Yarchei Kala with older people that were there, and now they came back for a few days.
Oh, that's nice.
In ZAJ. Yeah.
How do you like this? The moment he just came off the plane, the first thing he did was learn Chassidus.
Love it. See, that's called Anshe Moshe. He walks. You know why? Because Eretz Yisrael is the place which is right Eretz Canaan. Machnia Bitul Hashem. So you walk off Eretz Yisrael. The first thing, as you walk off the plane, the first thing to do is you got to walk right into some Chassidus. And that way,
there's another bar also
down here.
that
What?
with my father, when I walk in, it's always a base. It's always a place of holiness, kedusha, machnia. So I gravitated right here. Like there was nothing else I could have done, even if I didn't want to. You know, it was just
Beautiful. What's the occasion? What'd you come for?
a friend's wedding. And then I'm trying out a ZA in Bayswater for next year,
Amen.
and yeah.
The ZA guys are the ones around Mike Ten family in 5 times, by the way. They all come.
wow.
They're the big brothers.
Oh, smart.
That means,
Very nice.
Beautiful.
Okay.
Okay,
I mean,
enjoy.